to Eye on America. I'm Michelle Miller. Today, we bring you stories about improving health and medical care across the country. In Hawaii, we hear from citizens whose water supply was contaminated by a dangerous fuel leak at a naval facility. And in California, we look at how scientists are working to extend the lifespan of dogs. But let's begin with a different Golden State story in Los Angeles, where the homeless population has been on the rise in recent years. More than 75,000 people are estimated to be living without shelter in LA County. Mark Strassman meets a psychiatrist behind a pioneering mental health program aiding the unhoused.
You're in a new place, new environment, it'll take some time.
Okay.
Mike told us he's 60, but he looks much older. Homelessness ages anyone.
Got it. Easy.
He has spent the last 20 years living outdoors, a gentle, troubled loner hiding in plain sight until now, his first day at this LA care facility.
What do you think?
Oh, not bad.
Yeah. When's the last time you had a bed?
I cannot remember.
That
A long time ago, maybe, I don't know, 15 years or something?
15 years. Wow.
Mike's Lifeline, a program with LA County's Department of Mental Health called the Home Team. It flips the established treatment route on its head.
All right, you guys ready to huddle?
Yeah, let's do it. Mark, you got the meds? Yeah.
Rather than wait for homeless patients to drift in, psychiatrists like Dr. Cheyenne Rabb hit the streets looking for people in need of help.
Mike was introduced to me by the home team outreach staff, and they noticed him in out in the distance, almost looking like he really needed some help.
Almost like he was waiting for you to show up.
Almost like he was waiting for us to show up. You have a nice little view.
Rabb says traditional mental health programs typically fail people struggling with homelessness.
But what's your goal?
If you're working with severe mental illness and you're working with chronic homelessness, treatment and housing need to be done simultaneously. One thing I always appreciate is the music of Skid Row. It's always popping.
Take the city's infamous Skid Row, east of downtown, a landmark of squalor since the late 19th century.
Every once in a while, people in interim housing, they make a rapid turn. The bond with the team gets better. They start trusting us.
Rabb treats his street patients here or wherever they live, even those with no fixed address.
People who are homeless can have physical health conditions, mental health conditions, psychosocial needs that if they're not regularly seen, their needs could be neglected for a long time.
So how persistent are you?
Relentless. We are showing up every day because homelessness can result in an early death.
Marla is another client who got help.
A bit lost.
Lost and living on LA streets the last 5 years.
My self-worth wasn't that big, and I really didn't know who I was going to turn to.
With help, Marla's moving into sheltered housing on the day we met her. A safe space, and it's all hers.
I feel that new promises are going to happen down the road.
Mike's found more than just hope with his improved living situation.
So we have a special visitor here
For
that
you?
wants to say hello.
Dr. Rabb tracked down Mike's estranged brother, Vikram.
I'm glad there are people who are doing this sort of work for you.
Vikram told us when he got that call, he thought Dr. Rabb was going to tell him his brother Mike had died.
It's been a long time.
Relieved to know he's...
Yeah, very, very relieved.
The city's homeless residents who are fighting mental illness can finally find help, because now help finds them.
We continue with a look at another life-saving service. So-called mobile stroke units could provide crucial treatment when time counts most. CBS's chief medical correspondent, Dr. John LaPook, shows us how.
Richard Janelle was on vacation in New York City in 2018 when he suddenly lost strength in his right hand.
We sat down, had a beer, and I dropped my phone. I was not able to grasp the phone off the floor.
At age 41, Janelle was having a stroke. Blood flow to his brain was blocked by a clot.
I had problems speaking. It went really fast.
But he says if he had to have a stroke, it couldn't have happened in a better place.
It's pretty much a little miracle in my own life, for sure.
Janelle was treated by New York Presbyterian's mobile stroke unit. It's a special ambulance equipped with a CAT scan, cameras, and clot-busting medication that allows neurologists like Dr. Saad Mir to diagnose and treat patients remotely.
The majority of patients who come to the emergency room are not within a time window to get treatment.
A patient loses almost 2 million neurons in their brain every minute a stroke goes untreated. A study found mobile stroke units were able to deliver medication 36 minutes faster, and patients had better outcomes than with traditional emergency medical treatment.
I think within stroke care, this is one of the most exciting things that's come out in the past 15 or 20 years.
New York Presbyterian's mobile stroke unit is one of just 20 nationwide. Chris Bossert is one of the paramedics who treated Richard Janelle that day, administering the crucial medication.
How quickly did it work?
Maybe 5-10 minutes, I would say. It was very apparent that he was starting to gain function back. It was definitely an amazing case.
Janelle met up with the team who saved his life a year later at the same bar. And now he's a father.
Another little miracle, which was able to happen because of the first one, because I was saved in New York.
Coming up, Hawaiians demand justice after a devastating jet fuel leak poisoned their water. This is Eye on America. Welcome back. A 2021 leak at a military fuel storage facility contaminated the water supply for nearly 100,000 Hawaiians. Residents began complaining of illnesses even before the U.S. Navy acknowledged the incident. Adam Yamaguchi speaks with those affected and, in some cases, still living with health problems.
Some of the medication is for skin. This is all migraine. Oh my gosh, the list goes on and on.
Noreen Tuck moved her 3 children to Hawaii for a fresh start in 2021. But within months, their lives were upended.
Were you on any of these prior to exposure?
No.
Nothing.
Though the initial symptoms like nausea and vomiting have subsided, many more troubling ailments persist.
My youngest girls, their brains, I think, were most affected by the exposure. My daughter was dealing with severe depression and anxiety. You know, she was a 10-year-old who was contemplating suicide and ending her life.
But Tuck and her children aren't alone. They're among 2,000 people sickened after ingesting jet fuel that leaked into the drinking water supply of 90,000 residents living on or near the Pearl Harbor Hickam Air Force Base in November 2021. The Hawaii Department of Health confirmed the water contained petroleum 350 times the level considered safe, as well as antifreeze, household cleaner, and high levels of chlorine.
I'm exhausted.
Every week, affected residents meet to share their experiences and provide support for one another.
My fear is water. I fear the water on this island.
I tried to commit suicide twice since the water because I feel like such an epic failure. And I'm really afraid that one day I can't hold it together, see my kids suffer like this.
Texas-based attorney Christina Bayer and a Honolulu team represent Tuck and over 7,000 residents in a tort claim against the U.S. government. The Navy admitted operator error that led to the leak after it concluded an internal investigation.
They knew.
But Bayer claims the U.S. Navy was negligent in its failure to immediately inform residents about the Red Hill leak, exposing more people to more chemicals. She disputes the safety of the water, citing a low but persistent presence of petroleum in the water. But the total hydrocarbons in the water are below limits set by the state and federal regulations.
They didn't actually clear your house. They didn't properly flush any of those houses. So the reason you're having burns when you're showering is because there is still jet fuel not only in the pipes, but also in your water heaters.
Bayer says 68% of her clients reporting illnesses are still experiencing ongoing symptoms they attribute to the November 2021 exposure. What are your clients looking for? Is this about monetary compensation?
It's about accountability first. They want people to know the truth about what happened. And they want to make sure that it never happens again.
In January 2023, over a year and a half after the leak, the U.S. Armed Forces Combined Defense Health Agency opened the Red Hill Clinic specifically for patients with illnesses potentially linked to the contaminated water. We spoke with Major General Joseph Heck, director of the Defense Health Agency for the Indo-Pacific region.
We've spoken to countless individuals who are still experiencing symptoms. The government is saying that the water is safe. So how do you account for the discrepancy here?
Hawaii Department of Health has declared the water safe for use and consumption. Right? Doesn't mean that individuals cannot develop maladies due to any other reason if they turn on the tap and they run water on their skin and they develop a rash or a boil or some concern. Please come see us at the Red Hill Clinic. Let us see you, let us evaluate it, and let us determine whether or not it can be attributed to the potential exposure.
The Red Hill leak and a prior leak there a few months earlier contained JP5, a petroleum product that, according to the CDC, may cause liver damage and neurological disorders. No conclusive studies have linked the jet fuel to cancers. Since opening, the clinic has seen 193 patients. Many affected residents expressed reluctance to going to military facilities. The Navy, Department of Health, and the EPA declared the water safe after the Navy removed the contaminants by flushing out the system with water. The Hawaii Department of Health issued a statement saying, in part, the Joint Base Pearl Harbor-Hickam water today is safe for all uses. The Navy continues to test the water in the aquifer and in people's homes. Native Hawaiians and groups such as the Oahu Water Protectors and Sierra Club had been raising the alarm over Red Hill since a major leak in 2014 and in May of 2021.
Unfortunately, Red Hill is just one in a long, long history of military contamination and degradation of this island.
We spoke to Wayne Tanaka, the head of the Sierra Club in Hawaii.
We've had instances of radioactive waste being dumped into Pearl Harbor. Pearl Harbor itself is a Superfund site, one of the most polluted places in the United States. We have other places across the islands. The entire island's water table was cracked because of Navy shelling, testing their weapons.
From 1953 to 1987, over 900,000 military and civilian residents at Camp Lejeune in North Carolina were exposed to chemical solvents in their water supply. Those toxins have been positively linked to a number of cancers, Parkinson's, miscarriages, and infertility.
We had Flint, we had Camp Lejeune, we've had burn pits and Agent Orange. When are we going to stop poisoning our own people? The only way we can enforce change is to actually hold them accountable.
And though not all of Bear's clients have reported symptoms, she says the state of Hawaii allows for people to sue on the basis of the fear of future health impacts.
I've spent many a nights going down rabbit holes, looking up symptoms, looking up, early signs of cancer in children.
And that unknown is what keeps Noreen Tuck and thousands of others on edge.
I don't know what the future's going to hold for my children, I want my kids back. I want my kids to be kids.
Ahead, could new science help your dog live longer? That story's next. We close our show with a story about our furry friends. Roughly half of all pet-owning Americans consider their animals to be just as important as any human family member, according to a recent survey. So it's no surprise that scientists are trying to extend the lives of man's best friend, or woman's. Dana Jacobson looks into research to increase the lifespan of dogs.
Oh, you are such a cutie. You are the cutest dog. Drop it. Drop it. Go get it.
Whether it's playing fetch, taking a long walk, or just sitting around, retired physician Joe Seibel has a constant companion by her side, her golden retriever, Crypto.
Okay, let's go, bud.
10 years ago, as a puppy, Crypto was welcomed into Seibel's family after the sudden death of their beloved dog, Fenway.
How much a part of your life is Crypto? Oh, well, I hate to say this. This is going to sound weird, right? He is a big, big part of my life. Come on, let's go.
It's why 2 years ago she enrolled Crypto in the Dog Aging Project, a wide-ranging study involving more than 46,000 dogs nationwide.
You never usually give it up.
Crypto took part in a double-blind experiment involving the drug rapamycin, which has been shown to extend the lifespan of mice and fruit flies. Dr. Daniel Promislau of the University of Washington is co-director of the Dog Aging Project.
If you said to me, a year or two extra for your dog, I'd sign up in a heartbeat.
It could potentially be something that people regularly give
their dogs, maybe later in life. Right now, we don't know that rapamycin will have any effect. Clinical studies like this take quite a long time. We're really interested in watching whether the dogs on rapamycin live longer and also whether they live healthier.
The rapamycin study represents just a sliver of the research being done by the Dog Aging Project. The goal is to observe and collect data from as many dogs as possible throughout their entire lives.
One of the things we're trying to understand is just what happens as a dog ages, and not only in terms of the diseases it gets, but also we're trying to understand how a dog ages and whether we can predict which dogs are going to be healthy agers, not healthy agers. We're measuring the environment. Are there diet factors that we can identify?
Right.
Are there social factors that impact how well a dog ages?
It seems like the same way you would study this in humans.
It's exactly the way you would study it in humans. The unfortunate thing is that dogs don't live very long, but what that does for us is that it allows us to answer these questions in just a few years instead of having to wait 30 or 40 years.
Is it possible that there's something that you will learn now about dogs that could translate to humans as well?
What we learn about dogs is likely to also teach us a lot about humans because biologically, dogs are very similar to humans. The kinds of diseases that dogs get as they age are very similar to the ones that we get. So what we learn about both the causes of those things as well as ways to prevent those things or delay their onset are lessons that are likely to apply to humans as well.
As a nonprofit, the Dog Aging Project is primarily focused on research and relies on funding from the National Institute on Aging and private donations. But private industry is also exploring pet longevity. San Francisco-based startup Loyal was launched by Celine Haliwa back in 2019. A dog mom to Rottweiler rescue Della with a background in neuroscience research, Haliwa and her team hope to develop a drug that could prolong the healthy years of a dog's life.
I went out and I raised $5 million on the pitch deck and the idea. I think people went for it because it was so audacious that if it works, it's a really big deal.
You say audacious, and to me it's like, no, this is a no-brainer. Because if you ask me what would I do for my dog, anything. And
Yeah.
what would I do to have my dog around longer?
The people who understand the science and the regulation and the laws and the complexity of building an FDA-approved drug, 'cause we're not doing supplements. If they get approved, FDA-approved drugs.
Right. Hollywood's raised over $38 million more in capital. And Loyal recently cleared an FDA hurdle with the goal of having a product on the market in the next 2 years.
I wanted to prove that this is legitimate science. I want us to achieve that high bar.
This is like the heartworm pill
Yeah.
that you would give your dog.
Yeah, and I want people to be able to trust it. I don't want people to feel like they have to make a judgment call.
Haliwa wears her dedication to her company's mission on her sleeve, literally.
Good girl.
With tattoos dedicated to the core organisms and animals used to study aging.
So I have a C. elegans right here, and it was the animal in which it was shown for the first time that if you just modify one single gene in this worm, that it could extend its lifespan 2 to 3x. So this is a black 6 mouse.
Right.
This is the mouse that's kind of the workhorse, so to speak, of the research industry around understanding diseases. And then I have a black Labrador because a caloric restriction study in black labs run by Purina in the late 90s that showed a 2-year lifespan extension and a 2-year delay on certain age-related diseases. And maybe one day I'll put a human down there or a Great Dane or something. We'll see. I'm going to run out of arm space. But
Where are you going?
Oh.
Part of Loyal's research was conducted at Muttville, a San Francisco rescue for senior dogs. Angela Ramiro is Muttville's chief veterinary officer. Her dog Gil came through the rescue and was part of the research.
I got a report back a few months later, which told me Gil's age. It told me some more diseases that he was prone to, specific kinds of dental disease.
Wow. Was there any part of you that was skeptical about participating or about what they might be studying, that this could actually work?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Really?
That's the scientist in me. You're born to be a skeptic. But what was really awesome was they had some legit scientists behind this research, some preliminary studies that were really hopeful and legitimate.
Fundamentally, there is a drug out there that will extend dog lifespan and dog health span. And we have done so much work in blazing the path for that to become something that people can have. And even if we don't make it to the finish line, which I believe we will, but even if we didn't, somebody else will.
It's a finish line millions of pet owners, including Joe Seibel, would like to see crossed.
Oh, look at you. I want him to have a good life because he gives me so much happiness. And I'd like him to live to be healthy. You know, to me, he's more than a pet. I know he's not a child, but he is my companion.
They're family.
Yes, he is my family for sure.
They're family.
For more stories like these and live coverage of breaking news 24/7, stream us right here on CBS News. I'm Michelle Miller. Thank you for watching Eye on America.